He came to negotiate, but he was never going home. In 1887, one of the most powerful men in the Niger Delta stepped aboard a British vessel. He believed he was going to negotiate. The British had other plans. His name was Jaja of Opobo, a merchant, a king, and one of the most powerful men controlling the palm oil trade in the Niger Delta. But Jaja had not been born into this power. His journey began with slavery. Through intelligence, ambition, and relentless determination, he rose through the trading world of Bani. And eventually, he built a kingdom of his own. But Jaja's wealth attracted attention. The British wanted access to the trade. Jaja refused to surrender control. And that refusal would cost him everything. How did a man who had risen from slavery become powerful enough to challenge the interests of the British Empire? This is the story of Jaja of Opobo. For years, Jaja had built his power through trade. Opobo became a major center of palm oil commerce, and his influence stretched across the waterways of the Niger Delta. But the world around him was changing. British merchants wanted greater access to the region's wealth, and behind the merchants came a much greater power: the British Empire. Jaja understood what was at stake. If he surrendered control of his trade, he would surrender the foundation of his kingdom. The British did not come simply to trade. They wanted control. They demanded that Jaja open his markets to their companies and accept British authority over the trade. But Jaja knew exactly what that meant. He had built Opobo's wealth with his own hands. He would not simply hand it over. So he refused. The British did not take Jaja's refusal lightly. Their merchants complained. Their officials applied pressure. And soon, what had begun as a dispute over trade became a struggle for power. Jaja knew that the British had resources far greater than his own. But he also knew something they had underestimated. Opobo would not surrender without a fight. The British did not come simply to trade. They wanted control. They demanded that Jaja open his markets to their companies and accept British authority over the trade. But Jaja knew exactly what that meant. He had built Opobo's wealth with his own hands. He would not simply hand it over. So he refused.
The British knew that force alone could be costly, so they turned to another weapon: diplomacy. Jaja was invited to meet British representatives, under the promise that the dispute could still be resolved peacefully. But behind the polite words was a growing determination to remove the obstacle he represented. Jaja had built a kingdom the British wanted, and now they needed a way to break his resistance.
But the trap was already closing. In 1887, Jaja was arrested by the British and taken away from the kingdom he had built. The man who had once commanded the waterways of Opobo was now a prisoner, thousands of miles from home. He was tried and exiled, first to the West Indies, and later to other parts of the British Empire. But exile could not erase what Jaja had built. Back in Opobo, the struggle over his kingdom continued, while the British tightened their control over the region. Years passed, and when Jaja finally returned to West Africa, he was no longer the young trader who had once fought his way upward. He was an old king returning to a world that had changed. Jaja died in 1891, before he could fully reclaim the world he had built. But his story did not die with him. Jaja of Opobo remains remembered as a man who rose from extraordinary hardship, built a powerful African trading kingdom, and refused to surrender its independence without a struggle. His story is not simply the story of a king. It is the story of ambition, resistance, power, and the price of standing your ground when an empire comes knocking. This was Jaja of Opobo. His story is not simply the story of a king. It is the story of ambition, resistance, power, and the price of standing your ground when an empire comes knocking. This was Jaja of Opobo. If you enjoyed this journey through Nigerian history, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because there are many more forgotten stories of Africa waiting to be told. Until the next story, remember the legends.